welcome. We'll begin our practice today laying down on towards our back. So just take a moment to get comfortable. Take the legs out. So in your Shavasana position, just allow the arms to come out to the side. And if you want to close the eyes, or you might prefer to keep them open, depending on how you feel right now. Just take a moment to come into your own space. You might want to take a few sighs in through the nose, out through the mouth. And then bringing the feet together, and then reach the arms up over the head to the floor behind, taking a full body stretch. And then take hold of your left wrist with your right hand and just edge your upper body over to the right. And then perhaps edging your feet over to the right too. And you could take the option of crossing an ankle over the other, that feels good. So you're stretching into the left side of the body here, really sending the breath into the left side of the rib cage. And just noticing where the feedback is. Where can you feel the tightness? Or where can you feel the stretch? Is it in the hips? Is it in the side of the body? Or maybe it's in the shoulder and the arms. And if you've got your legs crossed, just uncross them and take the feet back centre. And then move the upper body back centre. And then swap over and take hold of your right wrist with your left hand. And then edging the upper body over towards the left, and then the legs over to the left, and then option to cross one leg over the other. Taking our banana stretch here. And then again sending the breath into the right side of the rib cage this time. And just notice the feedback on this side. Is it in the same places? Maybe it's in different places on this side of the body. And if you've got your legs crossed, just uncross them, take them back centre, and then take the upper body back centre, floating the arms down by the side of the body. Bring the right knee in towards the chest, and hold either around the back of the thigh or the shin. And just pulling the knee in as comfortably close as you can, perhaps flexing into the left foot, pushing the heels away. And if your leg isn't quite close, you might find the knees more coming towards the shoulder rather than coming in down the central line of the body. Bring the left knee in to join and straighten out the right leg, flexing into the right foot, drawing in the left knee as close as comfortable towards the shoulder or the chest. And then bringing the right knee in to join the left. Or taking the hands towards both kneecaps, and then just allow the breath as you breathe in, just send the knees away, and as you breathe out, just bringing them closer in. separating the knees and then come into some circles. So send the knees away from each other, out and round, and then bringing them back in towards the chest. And then just take that back in the opposite direction. And then bringing that back to stillness, taking the hands towards the back of the thighs and take a few rocks up and down the spine. We're going to come to an upright position, but if this doesn't feel good for you, then just roll over to the side and come up that way. But if you are massaging the spine, take a good few of these. And then when ready, just coming upright. And then we're going to come into a kneeling position here, so sitting on the knees. If this isn't comfortable for you, you can do this seated. So settling on the knees, take the hands just on towards the knees here, and then we'll take some cat-cow type movements with the back. So bringing the chest through the shoulders, gazing up slightly, and then rounding the back, looking towards the belly button. Again, bringing the breath synchronization into this movement. Just make this one your last round. And coming back to stillness, reaching the arms up, interlinking the fingers, turn and press the palms towards the ceiling, reaching up, perhaps have a cherry pick from side to side. And then just checking in here, are you flaring your rib cage? And if you think that you are, then just slightly tuck the tailbone, engage the abdominals, creating that straighter back. And then turning around towards the right, separating the hands, taking the left hand to right knee, take right hand behind, and maybe gaze over the right shoulder. If you're okay in the neck, but don't force the neck here. Reaching the arms back up, turn and interlink the fingers again, turning around through centre, over towards the left, separating the hands, twisting the opposite way. Taking the arms back up, turning centre, separating the hands, and then this time take the hands down by the side of the body, drop the forehead towards the floor. It doesn't have to touch the floor, it might just hang in space, or it might rest gently down on towards the mat. Slowly coming back upright, and then make your way on towards your hands and knees. So once on your hands and knees, we'll come into some more cat-cow movements, so dipping the back, sending the tailbone up, gazing forwards, rounding the back, taking the gaze towards the belly button, moving at your own pace. Slowly coming back to stillness, making sure you have space in front of you on the mat, having the knees and the hips in line. Start to walk the hands forwards here, and then lowering the forehead down towards the floor. Come into our melting heart pose. If you're quite mobile in the upper back, then you might find it more comfortable to rest the chin and chest down onto the floor. And then slowly coming up, and just move forwards, laying out down on towards your front, taking the elbows under the shoulders, coming into your Sphinx. So here, just engaging into your buttock muscles, your glutes, tucking the tailbone slightly, and just really pull the chest through the shoulders, gazing forwards, keeping the neck nice and long here. And it might feel good to take the gaze over one shoulder and then the other. And then coming back centre, either taking a few more breaths in this position, or if you want to take this slightly deeper, really make sure you've engaged your glutes and tucked the tailbone, and just pushing into the hands, lifting the elbows off the floor. This is quite strong in the lower back, so be intuitive, and if it pinches, then just don't go there. If you have come up into your seal pose, then lowering back down towards the floor, taking the hands underneath the shoulders, and then move back towards your 4-point kneeling. And then once back in your 4-point kneeling, round the back and take the bottom back towards the heels, this time with the arms reaching out in front. Lifting the gaze to the space between the hands, and then this time we're going to strike the chest forwards, coming back down onto our front. This time the hands staying underneath the shoulders, opening, peeling the shoulders back, and then coming to a baby cobra. And if you feel a little bit more open, you might take this cobra slightly higher, and then lowering back down, moving back towards your rounded back position, taking the bottom back to the heels. So we'll move this as a flow. So I would suggest breathing in to come forwards, taking your back bend, and then perhaps breathing out to come back. You don't have to do it that way. If a different way of breathing works for you, then take that. But just allow this to become a flow, your mindful flow. Completing the round that you're on, and then we'll meet back in our all fours position, tucking the toes under, lifting the knees up off of the floor, coming into your downward facing dog. Now checking in with the back of the legs here. If they're feeling a bit tight, take the next few moments just to perhaps pedal the feet out, or you might want to bend the knees and really push the chest towards the thighs. If you prefer to be in stillness, then just take that. And then just looking towards the space between the hands, picking up the left leg and then stepping in between the hands, lower down towards the left knee, or the right leg I should say, stepping forward with the right leg. So if it doesn't get there first time and it gets to stay here, just use a hand to help it through, coming in towards your low lunge. Then once you're set up in your low lunge with your ankle and your knee in line, just start to bend and straighten that front leg, working a bit more into the hamstring here. Taking into another flow, again incorporating the breath with the movement. Next time the leg's in its straight position, holding it there, take a breath in, lift the chest, and then breathe out, seeing if you can get the chest any closer to the thigh. And again, this knee doesn't have to be completely straight. You might have a bend in it here, as long as you're getting a good feedback down the back of the right leg. And bending back in towards that right knee, framing that front foot with the hands, tuck the back toes, lift the back knee, take a step back towards your downward facing dog. Just take a moment to notice if the two legs are feeling different now, and then when ready, picking up the left leg and then stepping between the hands, lowering down towards the right knee, and then once here, coming back into that flow of straightening and bending at the knee. And then next time we're in the straight leg position, holding there. Take a breath in, lifting the chest, and then folding down over that left leg. And then bending back in towards that knee again, framing the front foot, tuck the back toes, lift the back knee. Take a step back towards your downward facing dog. And then from your downward facing dog, bring the feet so the big toes are touching and lift the right leg up towards the ceiling. You might stretch and point the toe, or you might flex the foot. And if it feels good, you might bend that right knee, stacking the hips. Take the gaze underneath the left armpit, just to try and keep the shoulders square. And then turning back centre, looking to the space between the hands, and then again stepping that right leg through, lowering down towards the back left knee. And we'll come back into a bit of a flow, but this time you can take it a bit further if you want to. So again, that straightening motion with the front leg. And then when you come forward, you can just do what we did before. Or if you would prefer to, when we come forwards into our lunge, you might take the arms up and then breathing out, coming back down. Again, allowing the breath to fit in with the movement. And next time that front knee is bent, holding it there with the arms up, bring the hands towards a prayer at the centre of the chest, turning around towards the right, and then maybe hooking that left elbow over the right knee, taking the gaze over the shoulder. If you want to add on here, you could always tuck that left toe, lift up the left leg, makes it a little bit stronger. Turning back down and then taking the hands to the inside of the right foot. Lower back towards the left knee if you lifted it up. Maybe heel toe that right foot out slightly wider. And then from here, either staying up on towards the palms if you feel like you're getting enough here, or you might drop down towards the elbows for a few breaths. Try to avoid this knee from splaying out to the side for the moment. We'll focus on that in a minute. Just having the knee, try and glue it towards the right shoulder for the next few breaths. And then if you were down on towards your elbows, just coming back up on towards the palms, and then turn the right foot out to the side. And then this is the point where you can just take that right hand towards the right knee, and this is where we open the hip. So you're moving on towards your left hip, lowering it towards the floor, either staying here, or you could reach that right arm up and back, and then maybe even bending that left knee, taking hold of the foot. It's optional though, just make sure that it's not uncomfortable for the nerves in the left kneecap. And then releasing the foot if you took it, taking the hands back down, and then taking them either side of that right foot. Tuck the back toes, lift the back knee, and take a step back towards your downward facing dog. Now again, you can choose. So you either stay in your downward dog, or if you want to come through a flow with me, moving forwards and towards your plank, you can drop the knees down, or you could lower down all the way to the floor, taking the hands under the shoulders, and then taking a cobra, and then tucking the back toes, moving back towards your downward facing dog. And then from your downward dog, move the feet so the toes are touching, and this time lifting the left leg up towards the ceiling, pointing or flexing the foot, and then bending into the knee, stacking the hips, maybe gazing under your right shoulder. Turning the hips back square, and then stepping forward with that left leg, lowering down towards the right knee, into our low lunge on the other side. And then coming back into that flow of bending and straightening at the knee, with the option of adding on the lift. So coming up with the arms, next time we're in our bent knee position, taking the arms up, taking the hands towards a prayer at the chest, this time turning around towards the left and perhaps hooking that right elbow over the left knee, taking the gaze behind, with the option of tucking the back toe and lifting that right knee up off the floor. Turning back centre, and then take the hands down to the inside of the left foot, lowering that right knee back down if you did lift it, and then deciding if you want to stay on towards the hands or if you want to drop the elbows down towards the floor, hugging that left knee in towards the shoulder. coming back up onto the hands if you drop towards the elbows, and then taking the left foot and then turning it out to the side, dropping the right hip towards the floor, either taking the left hand towards the left knee or reaching the left hand back, maybe bending that right knee, taking the foot. Letting go of the foot if you took it, turning back down towards the floor, taking the hands either side of the left foot, and then take a step back towards your downward facing dog. Again, your choice, either waiting in downward dog, or you could move through a vinyasa, so coming in towards your plank. This time you might lower down and hover in chaturanga, and you might feel ready to take an upward dog, and then back towards downward facing dog. And then from your downward dog, just drop the knees down towards the floor, coming a little bit into the upper body now. So take the right leg out behind and taking it round towards the side so it's parallel with the hip. And then come onto your right fingertips and then reaching the right arm up towards the ceiling, and then lowering down, take that right hand underneath the left armpit. This is going to be a strong twist, so you might just stop here. If you can take the shoulder all the way to the floor, go ahead, resting on the right cheek, using the left hand for support. Pressing into the left hand, bringing the right hand back centre, and then we'll take the twist the other way. So this time reaching left arm up to the ceiling, again being careful, this is quite strong, and then taking left hand under right armpit, lowering left shoulder down, left cheek. This is probably going to be feeling a bit easier this side. So with the right hand you may want to just leave it as it is, or you might want to reach it up out in front over the head, coming into the armpit a bit here. If you straightened your right arm out, bringing it back in, planting the hand, and then coming back, and then bringing your right knee back in. And then now for the left side, I'm just going to turn for space, you don't have to move. Taking the left leg out and around towards the side, and then from here reaching left arm up towards the ceiling, and then taking left hand under the right armpit. Be really careful, come as low as works for you. Quite a strong twist here. You might be feeling it into the left leg as well. Pressing into right hand, bringing left hand back centre, twisting the other way, so reaching right arm up, and then bringing that right hand underneath, dropping towards the shoulder. Then the option to either leave the left hand as it is, or reaching out in front, so you're just peeking under the armpit. Planting that left hand and then slowly coming back, bringing in that knee, and then again either just waiting here, you might take some cat-cow movements, or you might want to tuck the back toes, move towards downward facing dog, and coming through a flow, so moving through your plank, your chaturanga, choosing a back bend, and then meeting in our downward facing dog. So we're going to move into the outside of the hips now. So from here, reaching the right leg up towards the ceiling, again option to bend the knee and open the hip. and then coming back centre and bringing your right knee to behind your right wrist, and then taking the right foot towards the left wrist, lower down towards the left knee. We're going to take our pigeon pose. If pigeon doesn't work for you, you can always lay on towards your back and do a figure of 4 stretch. That can work just as well in stretching the outside of the hip. So get comfortable here, settle in, and just choose how you want your foot. Some people like their leg quite parallel, some people like to tuck their foot quite far down the side. So just allow it to go where naturally it wants to. Check also that you're square. If you feel that you're tipping over to the right, you might want to put something underneath the right buttock just to stabilise you. And then from here you can either stay upright, or we could start folding forwards, coming into our sleeping swan. Taking this into a twist, so coming just high enough so you can take your left hand, taking it underneath your right armpit, lowering down towards the left shoulder, resting the cheek on the floor, and either keeping the right arm out in front, or you might want to take it around to the back. It might even hook the toe of the foot. It doesn't matter if it doesn't though. It's not integral to the posture. Took your twist, just bringing that right hand back, planting in towards the floor, and coming back up into your higher pigeon. We're just going to take a little bit of a back bend here before we go to the other side. So either just staying here, hands planted, or if you want to go a bit deeper into it, you might take the hands more to the side of the body. You could even grip hold to the sides of the mat to help lift the chest. You may want to pick up that back left foot again, bringing it in. You might want to flip the grip and take it into king pigeon, or you might want to come into your mermaid pose. I'm going to take mermaid, so I can't do king pigeon without a strap. Just choose the best thing for you. And then from wherever you are, just releasing that back foot if you did take it, and then tucking the back toes, lifting up the back knee, and then stepping back towards your downward facing dog. And then from here picking up the left leg, taking up towards the ceiling, option to bend the knee, open the hip. Squaring the hips off, and then bringing the left knee behind the left wrist, taking the left foot across, lowering down to the other side. If you're on your back, then just take the posture in the other side with the left knee pulled in, resting on towards the right thigh. So once settled in your pigeon, it's not necessarily going to feel the same this side. Check if you need to pad up under here, and then preparing if you want to come forwards into your sleeping swan. And taking it into a twist, so just coming up high enough to take the right hand And then taking it underneath the left armpit, lower down towards the right shoulder, maybe the right cheek, and either have the left arm out in front or wrapping it round the back, maybe even hooking onto that big toe. If you've got the big toe hooked, releasing it off and then coming back upright to your higher pigeon, and again choosing a good back bend for you, so either keeping hands planted, they might be quite far forward here, you might find it hard to come up too high, and that's absolutely fine. You might want to take the hands a bit further back, so again holding on towards the mat to lift the chest, or you may want to bend the back knee, either taking king pigeon or mermaid. And then from here just releasing the hands, releasing the foot, and then coming back towards your downward facing dog. So again, yogi's choice, you can wait here or you can move through a vinyasa. And we're going to meet in a seated position. So lowering down, taking your back bend back towards downward facing dog, or maybe step, or maybe just hop the feet through so you're sitting down. And then once in a seated position, just straightening the legs out along the floor. And then we're going to bend in towards the right knee. And now you can either allow that knee to drop out to the side and the sole of the foot to come into the thigh, or you could rest that right foot on the top of the left leg and do it in a half lotus. I'm going to come into a fold from here, so just be mindful. If you're quite advanced in your practice and you know it's there for you, you may want to reach the right hand round and hook the big toe. Take a breath in, reaching one or both arms up, and then folding forwards. You might find that once you fold that lotus is a bit too much. If it is, then just go back to having the leg in towards the thigh. Take a breath in, lifting the chest, and then breathing out to fold. Slowly coming back upright from your fold, leaving the legs as they are. Take the left hand on towards your right knee, taking the right hand behind for a twist. And if you want to come into the next phase of this, if you're in your lotus, just move the foot so it's back against the thigh, pointing into the left toes, planting to the right hand, lifting up, taking a baby wild thing, gazing up or down, just pushing the hips up here, lowering back down towards the floor, straightening out that right leg, and then ready to bend the left knee in, allowing the knee to drop out towards the side, an option to just have the left foot against the thigh or up into towards a half lotus. Again, it's up to you if you want to just fold forward with both hands or reach that left hand around and hook the big toe. Breathing in, breathing out to fold. Perhaps breathing, lifting the chest, extending, and then melting in towards your fold. taking your right hand towards your left knee, left hand behind, coming into a twist. If you want to take your baby wild thing and you're in your half lotus, just move that foot off of the leg, point the right toes, plant the left hand, lifting the hips up. Slowly releasing off, coming back down to seated, straightening that left leg out in front. And then we'll take a straight forward fold, so reaching the arms up, breathing in. And then if you'll tighten the hips, soften the knees as you fold forwards with a flat back if you can, and just let the hands land where they land. Breathe in, lifting the chest, and then breathing out to fold. Slowly coming back upright. And we're going to bring the right knee in again, but this time keeping the foot about a hand's distance away from the left thigh. Take the left hand out to the side for support, reach the right arm up and then fold forwards. Now you might take hold of the leg or the foot. If you find that your right shoulder is in front of your right knee, you might be able to reach that arm around and then take a bind. And if you're in your bind, or if you're just holding on here, take a breath in, lifting the chest and then folding down. If you have a hard time folding and you'd rather stay up in your bind, then stay upright. Slowly coming up, releasing the bind if you have it, and straightening out that right leg. Then bringing in the left leg, planting the foot about palm's distance from the right thigh. Taking the right arm out for support, reaching the left arm up, folding forwards. Again, if the bind's there for you, take it. Breathe in, lifting the chest, breathing out to fold. Slowly coming back up, releasing your bind and then releasing the leg. Going to take another seated twist before we come down onto our backs. So bringing in the right knee and then taking the right foot over the left leg. Option to keep the left leg straight, or you might wrap the foot around by the bottom. Turning around to the right, so either hugging onto the right knee with the left hand, with the right hand behind. You might take the left arm over, you might want to hold on to that foot, or you might reach the hand under and take a bind. Gazing over your right shoulder. Turning back centre, releasing the arms, releasing the legs, straightening the legs out, bending in the left knee, taking the left foot over the right, option to keep the right leg straight, or bending it around by the hips, and then choosing your hand position, either hugging over the foot or the bind. Turning back centre, releasing the hands, releasing the legs. And just take the feet about the distance of the width of the mat. Take the hands behind for support, and then just take a few windscreen wiper movements with the knees from side to side. And then from here we're going to come down onto our back. So making your way down on towards your back in a safe way. And then once we're down onto our back, just plant the feet in towards the floor. Hip distance and knees about hip distance too. And just have so the fingers maybe just touching the heels. Hands down, palms facing down. And then tucking the tailbone here. And then just lifting the hips up, lifting lower back, middle back, maybe upper back. And then there's the option, you might roll the shoulders under and interlink the fingers underneath, taking your bridge. And then gently releasing off and lowering down towards the floor. And then just bringing right knee into chest, and then left knee into chest, and just gently massage the back into the mat. And then planting the left foot onto the floor, taking the right ankle on towards the left thigh. Flexing the foot to keep it safe, and either gently press the right hand against the right knee to get into that IT band, or you might bring the left knee in towards the chest. Option to take this a bit deeper if you want to. Instead of holding on towards the left leg, you might hook the hands through that hole in the centre around the right shin, and then starting to send the left leg away. It might just plant on the floor, or it might straighten out fully. So you're in your sleeping swan, but you're upside down. So this is a lot, so listen to your body here. It's interesting just to see you change the perspective of a posture to a way that you're not normally practicing it. It can make it feel very different. And if you did straighten out the left leg, just bring it back in towards the right leg so it's resting against that right ankle again, releasing the hands and just planting that left foot onto the floor. Now from here we're going to take a twist, so either taking the right ankle off of the left knee and then crossing over at the thighs, and then you shift the hips over towards the right, take the hands out to a T or a cactus shape, and then allow the knees to drop over to the left. Now if that's too intense, you can always do the same twist, but instead of wrapping the legs, you can stack the knees and the feet, and that takes some of the intensity out of it. So choose how you would prefer to take this twist. The further apart the knees are, the more gentle the twist will be. And then just gently bringing the knees back centre, taking the hips back centre, taking the legs off of each other if you cross them, and then taking your left ankle on towards your right thigh, and then either just pressing with the left hand against the left leg, or bringing the right knee in towards your chest, making sure that left foot is flexed. Option to take this further, threading the hands through, taking hold of the left shin, and then starting to take the right leg away as far as feels good for you. that right leg back in if you sent it away until the thigh contacts with that left ankle again, and then taking the right foot down towards the floor. And then again choosing your preferred leg position for your twist. I'm going to take the crossed thighs, arms out to a T or a cactus shape, shift the hips over to the left and just letting the knees drop to the right. Slowly bringing the knees back up, taking the hips back to centre, releasing the legs, and then bringing knees in towards the chest again, one at a time, and hugging around, just gently rocking. And then the last posture is up to you. There's a few options here. You could choose the one that feels best for you today. You might want to take a butterfly, a reclined butterfly with the soles of the feet together and the knees out, taking the hands to wherever feels comfortable. You might prefer to take waterfall pose, taking the legs up towards the ceiling, or you might prefer to take a happy baby pose, where the knees are coming in towards the armpits. So you choose what feels best for you. Take the next few moments just to explore one or a few of those. And just finding yourself back to knees in towards the chest, perhaps wrapping the arms around, maybe lifting the nose up towards the knees, and then releasing off, coming into our final resting position, our Shavasana. So take it however you want, either in the traditional way, laying onto your back. You might prefer to be on the side or in the fetal position. I will go quiet now for a few minutes and either just switch the video off and take your Shavasana as long as you want, or I will chime the bell to finish the practice and we'll finish together. So just making yourself comfortable, allowing the eyes to close, spending a few minutes in stillness. starting to take some deeper breaths. Bringing some movement back in when you feel ready. Taking as long as you want. It might feel good to stretch, or it might feel good to bring the knees into the chest and hug them in. And then when you feel ready, just rolling over to a right or a left side, lingering there for a moment before making your way round to a seated position. And then once in a seated position, reaching the arms up, touching palms together collectively, bringing hands down towards centre of chest. Thank you for practicing with me. Namaste. See you again soon.